Shai, at this point, just how quickly does it feel like you guys are kind of all five in sync, recognizing coverage, shifting to what you want to get to, and it just seemed like you're able to pierce the defense regardless of what look they gave you immediately?
Yeah, I really feel like as a team we used the past couple. We had a few days off. We had some really good practices, and usually in those practices we work on our attacks, just because teams throw so many defenses at us. I think we're doing a better job of just like chipping away at that. Obviously, like the better you get, the more teams trying to junk it up and throw different things at you as a player and as a team. And the more prepared we are for everything, the better off we'll be. And I think we attacked it pretty good the other day in practice.
Obviously, once you guys get into the lane, that creates those kick-out opportunities. But even if that first one isn't there, it seemed like you guys are making the extra pass as well. Just how much does that speak to the unselfishness of this team, and how big was that tonight for you guys?
Yeah, we have a DNA, we have an identity, we understand how to play basketball, and we understand how to win games, big moments, and it's done with all five guys on the court on both ends. And that's engraved in us. That's something that is almost a habit now. And every night we try to implement that. And tonight we did a really good job of it from jump. And the more minutes, seconds, quarters we can put together like that, the better off we'll be as a unit. And we know that. And that's something that we hang our hat on.
You think did you get better looks tonight? Shots go in. What do you think?
I honestly feel like. Good question. I don't know. Like it felt like more shots went in, but I also feel like we've been getting good looks to start the season. They just haven't been falling, and like a lot of averages always evens out. And we have good shooters on this basketball team, and they're gonna go in as long as they keep getting good looks. Tonight we got good looks. What felt like the whole game, and they went in and had a big lead. But as long as we keep playing with the right intention and keep making plays for each other and getting each other good looks, they'll go in more often than not, hopefully.
You've led the league in drives the last 5 seasons, but I wanted to ask about AJ because he's been a phenomenal driver this season. As someone who's qualified to talk about it, what do you see from him in his driving game?
Yeah, he's just relentless with it. No matter who's in front of him, no matter the coverage, he does a really good job of touching the paint. And then making plays from there, whether it's for himself or for his teammates. But yeah, I've said this many times before about AJ. His feel for the game is what jumps out the most. He has natural touch, natural feel, and it's hard to teach those things. And he's got off to this really good start to the season because of that. But yeah, no surprise for sure.
How different has this year's start felt than last year's? You were 7-0 both times, but this year the personnel's been different, and offense, defense, it just seems a little different.
Yeah, it feels like we're a better team. It feels like we are. Like it feels like we've had a year to get better. Honestly, like personnel in the room hasn't really changed much. Added a few rookies. But we've had since the start of last year, we've had a year to get better, play together, learn each other on and off the court, and it feels like we've had a head start in that this season. And obviously we're dealing with some injuries to start the year, but because we've gotten better, like 1 through 15, the guys in the locker room, we're able to plug and play and figure it out on the fly and still have good results. So yeah, we're definitely a better team than we were a year ago.
Time for 2 more, Josue and then Clough.
Along those lines, Shai, you guys tied the franchise record for best start, 7-0. But the difference is, one of the many differences, I should say, is the fact that you guys were beating teams by double figures. Now, like you said, you got the injuries this time around. You guys are champions, you're getting everyone's best effort on a nightly basis. You spoke on that a little bit, but I guess my question is, like, what stands out the most in the sense of that growth that you've seen from this team compared to, let's say, NBA Finals to what you're seeing now throughout these 7 games?
Yeah, I think we, as a unit, we just understand what it takes to win. We've had to do that to win an NBA championship. We've had to learn and go through ups and downs and figure out how to win games on the fly, and being down, being up, learning how to close. And then also just play winning basketball and get better at stringing winning possessions together. And I think, like, no matter no matter what, we always focus on like using opportunities to get better. So every time we go out on the floor, I feel like we take a step forward, and I think that's just the product of that. No matter what game it is, no matter what stage, we try to use the opportunity to get better, take a step forward, and we've done a pretty good job of that in this past couple of years, I think.
Your last one, Cliff?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. So obviously you were able to come in and focus and play a really good game. Just wanted to see just how you're doing personally, given everything that's happened over the last couple of days, and if you're not able to speak to that, then if you could speak in general about what's going on. There's a trend towards major athletes having things happen at the houses, and if you could speak to that and just the fact that that kind of unfortunately seems to be coming with the territory of being a major star.
Yeah, long story short, everybody's safe, and that's all that really matters in the whole thing. Everything else can come and go, but my loved ones are safe, so I'm okay. I'm happy. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Aaron, at this point, when teams change defenses in the middle of a game, how instantaneous does it feel like you all are kind of just switching into whatever offensive flow you need to have to combat that?
Yeah, that's something that we kind of, talk about in practice, being able to recognize, when teams are switching into specific schemes defensively, and the better we're able to respond to that, the better it makes us as a team. So, whether it's zone, matchup zone, man, being able to recognize that is huge for us, and, that helps take us to another level, so.
Mark was kind of saying that the day that you had offensively today has really been building through the week. Did you feel that, and kind of what sense did you have about you all making strides and improvements through the week? Yeah,
last game I think I went 0 for 6 from 3, and then I had a good practice, and just mentally felt good. So coming in today, I kind of felt like it was going to be a better game, and my guys found me, saw a couple fall early, and that just kind of opened the door for it.
You guys have obviously been dealing with injuries, but it seems like Isaiah Hartenstein has been a real source of consistency for you guys, especially tonight. 14 boards, 14 points, 8 assists. Just how big has he been, and just in what ways do you see that he is impacting the game so much?
Yeah, he's been huge. He plays the game the right way. He's a winner. He's been great, with matchups and rebounding, obviously, and then the passing aspect of his game helps us a lot also. So it's been no surprise. It's been who he's been since he's gotten here, and he was good for us tonight.
Had an increased role, some of it due to injuries, but just how have you felt your game improve so far this season?
I work on every part of my game in the off season, so when the opportunity presents itself, I'm not necessarily shy of stepping into a bigger role, and being aggressive in that sense. So I felt good, felt comfortable in the different positions, and hopefully just kind of continue to carry it over throughout the season.
Take me through that breakaway dunk.
I didn't know what Trey Murphy was going to do, if he was going to commit to me, or I think it was Isaiah Joe beside me. So I was kind of staring him down just to kind of figure out and get a feel of, what he might do. But Kaysen kind of took off right before the play before, so I was like, I gotta get myself a dunk. So it's a good dunk. Yeah, proud of myself. Thank you.
You see these kind of nights where you got 8 guys in double figures, and every single player that gets out there scores. Mm-hmm. What is that feeling like on the bench, and afterwards as you come back to the locker room? I'm sure it's a bit of a different feeling than other games.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to have good games. I think everyone's spirits are high, especially after a win like that, and I think everyone's happy for each other.
Mark has used the phrase adaptable and interchangeable when he talks about the offensive system. What's that like on the floor? In terms of, kind of knowing the different positions, being put in different positions, and being able to kind of plug in regardless of which other guys are out there on the floor with you?
Yeah, I think we just have a really good system and great coaching staff and players to do it with, where it doesn't matter what position you are on the floor. I think everyone knows the system, and a lot of it just comes down to just the basic, system of what we run with spacing wise, and how to just make sure you're in the right places at the right time when people are doing actions.
Mark earlier credited just the skill of you guys, the big guys across the roster, of why you guys are able to go double big so often. How has that sort of panned out for you guys? I mean, you saw it more with Chet and Hart, but now like everybody's involved. What have been some of the, I guess, growing pains you guys have gone through to get to this point?
I mean, I don't think there's been too much growing pains. I think it's all learning just to play with each other. I think there's a lot of people like in practices and games you play and get a lot of reps with and get that good chemistry, and so it's just continuing to do that with like Jay, Will, and Hart and stuff, and just continuing to build the chemistry and learn how to play with one another. I don't think there's too much of like specific things that you're trying to figure out, but just more like as a whole.
You got some quality minutes tonight. I mean, with all the injuries and everything else, I mean, obviously you want everybody healthy, but I would think that's pleasing you to get minutes when the game is not decided, I guess.
Yeah, it's always great to play. You always be ready when coach calls your name, and so tonight was one of those nights. And I think everyone puts in the work, and so for myself to be able to go out there and to have that pay off from when you put in the work during practices and the off season is great.
There's a variety of bigs on this team with lots of different skill levels. Like, what have you been able to learn so far in your time here?
I mean, there's been a lot. I think one of the biggest things for me is just how to, with people like Shai and J-Dub to play with, just being able to set good screens and create space for them and help them to get open and play their game.
Mark, what stood out about the offensive execution today? Just the balance and the way that you were able to generate points.
Yeah, what actually stood out was Sacramento and Washington. Those two games, we, really got better, I thought, offensively in terms of how we want to play from an identity standpoint, and the shots didn't fall. And the optics of your offense always looks different based on whether or not the shots are going in. And I thought the team showed great maturity because we weren't making a ton of shots early in the season, but we just continued to improve the things that generate good shots. And tonight we got good shots again, as we have the last two games, and they fell. So to me, it was more about the persistence that we've shown, through a rough shooting stretch, more so than how we played tonight in a vacuum.
Talked about it a little in the preseason, but with not going with Hart and Jay Will at all last season. You guys dealt with injuries last year. Obviously, both of those guys dealt with injury, but it would seem like you would still use those two. But was there something that they did this summer together that you felt like you can use those two together? It just seemed like they had really good chemistry tonight.
Yeah, I think Jay Will's shooting and skill gives you the option to do that. He's also improved defensively to a point where it's broadened the range of matchups he can take. And there's certain situations where we think that's advantageous. Tonight was one of them, and we think there's others. So it's just another option for us. It's another tool that we're trying to develop at appropriate times during the season. Tonight felt like an appropriate time.
It seemed like you guys were really operating in that free throw line extended area. Was that something that you guys saw in film watching them that you could take advantage of, or was just the way the game went tonight?
It's the way the game went. We mixed our looks. I thought the guys did a great job, especially early in the game, just with the force that we played with on offense. There was just a sharpness and a speed to our actions and our organization that was really good. And so, like I said, I thought that's been the case the last couple games. It always looks and feels different when the shots go in, but I think the persistence when the shots weren't going in, the maturity to understand that we were on the right track and not to get distracted by, the point total or the shooting numbers, I thought was, to me, that was the takeaway tonight.
Cason Wallace is a high impact player, but pretty low usage player. What have you seen from him developmentally so far in these few games?
Offensively, yeah. I mean, I think it happens with guys that are high impact. They don't get seen as developmental players. He's a young player that's got a lot of runway and a lot of career ahead of him. Holmgren's like that. And he's another high impact player now with a high floor, but that has a ceiling as well. And Cason's like that. So it's a responsibility we have to squeeze everything we can out of that because he's going to be in the game. Like he's too good of a competitor. He's too good defensively. He's too impactful not to be in the games. So it's a matter of, can we develop a guy that's going to be out there as holistically as we can? And he's made great progress, which is starting to show up and will hopefully continue to show up.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you have thoughts on these early afternoon games?
No. I don't know. I mean, get to eat dinner.
On paper, this team is like pretty much the same from last year. But from a coaching lens, what's like the most satisfying sign of growth that you've seen so far this season? Is it like shot selection, maturity, composure?
I mean, I just think it has not been like smooth sailing through the first 7 games. We've played a lot of close games that we've had to kind of grind out. We've played some games in the mud, which you have to be able to win a lot of different ways. And so embracing the game when it's a little ugly, I think, is important. We've got some injuries, and so we've had to lean on our depth and different combinations of people. And so I just think the persistence of the team, even the shooting, we've not shot the ball well until tonight. Tonight's the first night above a certain number, I'm sure. And so the persistence that the team showed in all those different situations, I think it builds a muscle, as you go through the season, and you can grow through these experiences. And the team's done a good job of that through 7 games with 75 to go.
I don't know if Cayson's going to lead you in steals all season, but he had 4 tonight. Is there something he's done in his game defensively where he's just anticipating more? How's that working for him? He had 4 tonight. He's averaging over 3 for the season.
I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I think, as time goes on and these guys gain more experience and they play against Jordan Poole more, they learn the league. They learn the pictures. Their instincts start to grow over time, which I think just comes with experience. He's obviously got a gift on top of that, but you'd have to ask him in terms of what he's doing intentionally. But I do think he's gotten a little more intentional about his study and about learning the nuances of the game. I think Dort and Caruso have probably helped him with that to a degree. Those guys are pretty tight, and they put a lot of work in.
And also, all these injuries, like you're going deep in your bench. Branden Carlson got some minutes tonight, and some guys that maybe normally wouldn't get as many minutes. How much does that help you maybe going forward down there?
It helps. It's huge. It's an 82-game season and 18-man roster. And as we know, we need everybody. We believe in everybody. Everybody's on a track where they're hopefully growing and developing. BC is an unbelievable example of that. He's a guy that early on has not gotten a lot of opportunity, and he just keeps himself ready. And every single time you put that guy in the game, he's ready to play. And so it's very easy to insert him midway through the first quarter in a game because he's ready to play in every circumstance. He's going to be ready to play in that one.
Related to an earlier question about sort of the double big lineups, but it's not just Jay Will, Chet, Hart. You threw Carlson out there too. Is that something that you guys came to the season wanting to do more of, or is that maybe sort of a result of some of the injuries of Dub, Kenrich, of guys who play the 4 more traditionally?
Wanting to do more of, again, because of the skill of Jay Will and BC and Hart, with his passing and his skill level. I mean, they're all very skilled players, which would be normally the reason why you can't do that. And they're all pretty good defensively. So we're not going to force it. We're going to allow it to happen organically, but it's something, we got a list of things that we'd like to get to, and when, opportunities present themselves, we take advantage of them.
You mentioned the injuries, the adversity you guys have faced. Just how much does it help to have a consistent source of production in Isaiah Hartenstein tonight? Bunch of rebounds, bunch of assists, efficient down low. I mean, just how much does that help to you guys?
Yeah, and Shai and Kaysen and Wiggins, the guys that have played most of the games have done a great job and brought a great level of stability. Hart again tonight was outstanding. On the glass, great balance on the offensive end of the floor between his playmaking, his spacing. He was in the flow of the game tonight, and he guarded Williamson. That can get overlooked, but that guy's a really tough cover. He bullies people, and to have a guy that can absorb him the way Hart can is a huge, huge luxury for us.
Anybody else?